We live in a world that is constantly on the move. You may find yourself burnt out in a career that no longer lights you up or wondering if it's too late to reinvent your life and business. This episode will inspire you. Today's guest has spent 25 years in the hospitality and events industry, feeling undervalued and boxed in. But when the world paused during the COVID-19 pandemic, she took that opportunity to leap into the unknown and completely transformed her life. She's now a business coach, helping women step into their CEO era, 10 times their income and impact, and create businesses that align with the life they truly want. From a single mother navigating uncertainty to building a thriving online brand with over 7,000 engaged business owners, she's here to share real actionable insights on business strategy, high-ticket offers, mindset, and how to scale your business to next level. So get ready to take notes and be inspired. Welcome to the Minute Mastery Podcast, a conversational productivity and time management podcast where busy authors and entrepreneurs are inspired to create time for what truly matters. I'm your host, Ngozi Edema. I'm a time management coach, writer, and entrepreneur. Here, you are encouraged to turn your minutes into milestones and to create at least 1 hour a day working on your goals without feeling overwhelmed. And since you are here, I thought I'd let you know of a storybook to gift your favorite kids. Once upon a time, and they lived happily ever after. Children love those phrases. I love them too, and I suspect you may love them too. As a mom, I've spent hours reading and listening to my children read their favorite stories. And now I write stories too. Here is one of them you may want to check out. The Proud Sunflower. It is the story of Princess Sanzu, the Sunflower Princess, a princess loved by all, but who got into trouble. Within the pages of The Proud Sunflower, you encounter what real beauty is. Your kid will love the beautiful story and powerful illustrations. The Proud Sunflower serves as a gentle reminder that we all need to stand on the shoulders of others to succeed. So, read this story with your little ones and allow it to illuminate the universal language of empathy, forgiveness, and personal growth. The Proud Sunflower is a top book of parenting, morals, and responsibility, and it's available on the Kindle store and on paperback formats. Excellent for beginner readers. Click in this episode show notes or in the description on YouTube to order yours. And check out my other storybooks to read with your kids, or gift a child a storybook if you do not have kids of your own. Sasha Eburne went all in into her business in just 2 weeks. She mentors women to step into their CEO era while creating first-class freedom. After enjoying 20 years of business management in the corporate world, followed by managing her own successful virtual assistant business, she now uses her experience and expertise to provide a service to those starting out in the field, those wanting to upskill. Welcome to the Minute Mastery, Sasha.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. What was the turning point for you during the pandemic? We all had problems during the pandemic, but you took a leap into becoming a virtual assistant during that time. So what was that turning point for you?
Yeah, it was kind of something that happened organically and I never planned for it. Being part of the hospitality industry, we were the most heavily hit industry in COVID. The hotel that I was a sales director at, we were the first hotel that entered our hotel quarantine program here in Australia. That's how we quarantined our incoming passengers internationally. And we were the first one to join that program. So my huge career that I'd been building up for years and years just taken away from us. It's kind of now a blessing in disguise, as horrific as COVID was for all of us, but it has, I guess, allowed a lot of us to find other ways to bring in income. And it very much led to that. And the way that it actually happened was I'd never heard of a virtual assistant before. I didn't know what a virtual assistant was. And during the pandemic, I had found another company to work for. It was a network marketing company, and it was selling, body shop and facial stuff from home. And I was doing Zoom parties with women, and they're all at home, so we're all drinking our wine and doing face masks. And then I went and met a girl that I'd known from the hotel industry to give her products that she had bought. And this was when we could only go and get a takeaway coffee and sit in the park. We weren't allowed in the cafes, and I said, "What are you doing now?" And she said, "I'm a virtual assistant." And she said, "I work three days a week and I earn more than I did in my hotel life." And I was just like, sign me up. What is all this all about? And I actually didn't take any action on it for about 6 months. I just watched the space for 6 months. And then something happened in the position that I was in, and I was very undervalued. I was extremely bored. And I thought, why not just try it? So literally set my business up, created a website, and within 24 hours, I secured my first client.
Wow. COVID-19 actually affected a lot of us. My
Yeah.
husband and I also run an Airbnb
Oh, yes.
business. And we had to pay mortgages, empty properties.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was some difficult times for us too.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot of things during that period too that we now use for ourselves. So you've also mentioned feeling undervalued and burnt out.
Oh, yeah.
How did you navigate that emotionally while still showing up for yourself and your family as a single mom?
Yeah, I think in the past it was the norm. One, I just kind of thought that that's what going to work was going to be like. And, working in places where you just put your blood, sweat and tears and being undervalued, it was constant no matter where you go. And sometimes, you would leave a job seeking something else on the other side and you'd be met with exactly the same thing. And I think I didn't know that there was another way. I think it was just like, I guess this is what working life is going to be, and we're just going to have to suck it up and paint a rosy picture when we get home for our family and to be present. So it was just kind of one of those things that we dealt with and just kind of pushed through to be a present mum, when I got home. But it was very difficult because there was long days, long nights. I was always stressing and rushing to pick her up from daycare. But it was just one of those things that we did, just thinking it was the norm.
And actually, for most people, that is the norm. We all sometimes brought up to think that a 9 to 5 job is what
Correct. Yeah.
is the way forward, but it's not. Every single day I see that a 9 to 5 job does not really cut it for me. And being undervalued is the norm in most places. They don't care about you. They care about their business, which is okay. They care about their business. They know they can always hire someone else to replace you as soon as you leave. So it's us trying to find where we fit in. And that is what you did. You found where you fit in.
Yeah.
So you went from freelancing to CEO. What were the biggest mindset shifts that help you own that new identity?
Yeah. So it was really a letting go piece as well. And I think in the beginning, I'll be honest, I struggled with it. I struggled allowing the team to take control, having to learn not to be a micromanager. And it's kind of that was a learned behavior from the 9 to 5. And it's just like, I'd been micromanaged my whole life. That's all I knew. So, there was definitely mistakes made. There were, people that had left my business because I micromanaged, and they were really hard lessons to learn. And it was just like, wow, I'm actually repeating the behavior that I'd learned from my 9 to 5. So I really had to learn how to be a great CEO and to step up and be a leader rather than be that micromanager that I was kind of micromanaging my 9 to 5. So the team that we have now have been with us for a very long time, but I think that they have stayed because they have seen the new CEO version of me. They haven't seen the beginning me trying to be a freelancer and then trying to be a CEO. I've really learned about how to be a leader and how to lead them so that they have the autonomy to learn and to grow and to support them. And that has proven in time and time again, over the last few years, as I've grown into a CEO and a better manager and a better business owner, that the team that have kind of been with me in the latter years, they've stayed. Whereas in the beginning, it was very much a revolving door because of those old behaviors that I had.
And that must have worked for you too, because when you don't micromanage people, that means you trust them to do their job.
Correct.
You delegate tasks to them and you're trusting them that they are going to deliver on those tasks.
Yeah.
And that takes overwhelm and burnout away from you, which is a win-win for everybody anyway.
Correct.
So I know that I struggle with that too. Sometimes I try to micromanage people, but nobody likes being
No.
micromanaged.
No.
Even your own children don't like being micromanaged. So it's just the mindset shift of letting go of tasks and letting other people show up and deliver on what you want them to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So for women who feel stuck or afraid to pivot mid-career, what's the first small step they can take toward change? I'm very big on small steps.
Yeah, I think it's more just exploring what is out there. And I think we are grown up in a society and so conditioned that there's only the typical normal jobs, right? And I think it's about just exploring it or taking some time to research what other opportunities are out there, whether it's in business, whether it is in network marketing, because some people find a lot of success in network marketing because they like to be behind a product, or even other remote jobs. And you can still be an employee, but have the autonomy of working from home. And I am a full believer that a business is the way forward. However, business isn't for the faint-hearted either. And I'm not saying that every woman should be and should have a business, because not all of us can do it. So it's just a research and exploring what other options that they have available to them that they could find a love in what they do. And that's what I encourage people to do, because if they love what they do, it's not a drag, it's not a burden, it doesn't feel like a job. So really tap into themselves and be like, what do they love doing? What would light them up every single day? And just explore and research. And I think they'd be surprised of how wide the net can be in terms of what they could potentially do, and not kind of feel boxed in to be like, well, I've only ever done this and I can't break free from that.
So in your helping people, you specialize in helping service-based entrepreneurs.
Yes. Yes.
What do most of them get wrong when they're trying to grow their business?
It's what I find happens is they think that everything should work. And the thing is, if they start a business, they put an offer out, they expect people will come straight away. So business takes time and it takes repetition. And it also takes building the rapport and the like, know, and trust factor with our audience. So you can't just start a business and put out a post one day on social media and expect people to buy from you. And I think people get so disheartened that it doesn't happen really quickly. Now, it happened really quickly for me, but those results are not typical. And I tell my clients that, I don't paint this rosy colored picture that you're going to get fully booked. Now, I have clients that, yes, they make a lot of money really quickly and they can get fully booked really quickly, but those are not typical results. So you have to be willing to work for it. And I'm not saying that it's hard. It can be hard, but it's more about having the tenacity to want it so bad that you actually put the effort in, that you show up every single day, you get excited about what you do, and you realize that there's a bigger mission and a purpose to what you're doing. So if you're a virtual assistant, for instance, you're not just there to tick a box for a client. Have an extra layer of purpose to what you're doing. How are you helping them in their business? What is the bigger impact? And then you get that extra, love and satisfaction and purpose to show up every single day, but be okay with sometimes it's going to take time. The world of social media is so big now. You have to play the game and you have to be visible. And until that time is sometimes you do have to shout who you are, what you do from the roof, and be seen. And a lot of people don't like to be seen. They like to hide away and not be visible. And then they think that people are going to notice where they are. And that's not the case. So if they want to have a successful business, they have to show up and they have to be consistent in their efforts to get the results.
Okay. So is it because of this lack of patience and fear? I was reading a report not too long ago that 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, because it could be because of expectations or lack of patience.
Yeah. I think everybody wants the magic pill. Everybody wants to win the lotto and have the magic pill. The thing is, as I'd say, there's probably 1% of the population that might come up with an idea that is going to go to Fortune 500, really soon. The Steve Jobs, those kind of people in the world. 1%. You could get there eventually over 5 to 10 years, but also realize that it takes time. It's kind of the diet factor as well. Everyone's like, I'm going to start on Monday, but then if they don't lose 5 kilos in 2 weeks, they're like, oh, it didn't work. You've got to have patience and you've got to trust that your efforts will pay off over time. I mean, we all didn't, spend 25 years in a corporate career to in the beginning expect to come out having a 6-figure salary. It's the same thing. So in business, it is the same, and know that if you start today, where could you be in 5 years? Whereas a lot of people don't start because of the fear of it's not going to go really quickly. So it's kind of that magic pill. Everyone just wants the shortcut. But then on the flip side, some of them are not also willing to invest in the way to get the shortcut sometimes. And that's where a coach can come in because they've done the work. They've tried and tested the strategies, but then they're kind of, oh, I need to have the money to invest in the coach. But then sometimes they don't realize that actually maybe investing in the coach can actually support them and learn the shortcuts to get to be successful and earn the income. So it's kind of that whole, everyone says it's the chicken and egg, the catch 22. And then they just like, oh, it's just too hard.
Yeah, we've all been there. Most of us have been there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
So how can someone move from charging hourly or low ticket offers to confidently selling high ticket packages? I love this question.
Cool. So I actually encourage my clients to start off high ticket to begin with. And the reason why a lot of people don't is because they question their skills and experience. Now, most of the time, virtual assistants have a corporate career. They have tenure, they have the experience. So I encourage them to actually reflect on what they have and what they bring to the table. Because what can actually go wrong is if they start off charging low, they can get fully booked on a really low rate, and then they're churning the wheels and they feel like they're at the grind, they're at the 9 to 5, and they're struggling to make ends meet. But if they really value who they are and what they can bring to the table and learn how to sell in terms of getting people to be compelled to buy rather than convincing them to buy, and having your clients buy from an empowered state rather than being in a convinced state. Again, that's a strategy that you need to learn, but they don't buy the rate. They buy you and the value that you bring to the table. And the second that you start to value that, you can really charge whatever you want to charge and what you desire to charge to create the life that you want to. And if you have very little time to start with, so just say you've only got 5 hours a day while the kids are at school, that 5 hours is so much more valuable than, say, somebody that's got 8 or 10. So the time that it takes and the effort that it takes to sell to 10 people is exactly the same as it takes to sell to 5 people. So if you sell to 5 people at a higher rate, you've got less output, less time than if you're having to completely replicate that process for 10 people. So I always encourage people to start high, and you can always negotiate with a particular client directly on a call. Whereas a lot of people are like, well, that's my rate. That's just kind of it. No one's going to pay it. Again, that's a limiting belief that they have crafted in their head. So that's where I always encourage them to start. And the thing is, some people are just, human behavior encourages people to ask for a discount. So the thing is, if you start at your absolute lowest walk away price, you've got nowhere to go. Whereas if you start a little bit higher and they say, oh, I probably, can you sharpen your pencil a little bit? You'd be like, well, if you're ready to go ahead now, how about I knock off $5-10 off the rate for you and we can just get going right now? And it's an easy yes, because they feel like they've won. And that's essentially how a negotiation is, that both parties should feel like it's a win-win.
I want to ask you something. Have you been sitting on a creative project or book idea for months, maybe even years? Because life just wouldn't slow down. If that sounds like you, I created something just for you. It's my standard 6-week coaching package, a focused, personalized experience designed to help you finally finish what you started. Here is how it works. For 6 weeks, we meet once a week, just you and I. You'll get a custom time plan that fits around your real life. Not some cookie cutter schedule, but something that actually works for you. You will also get email check-ins from me, because I know how easy it is to fall off the track when no one is checking in. This is perfect for busy moms, writers, and entrepreneurs, or anyone who is juggling life and a dream at the same time. So, if you've been waiting for the right time, consider this your sign. Let's turn those minutes into milestones. Head over to this episode's show notes to enroll or learn more about this program.
But I think that the pricing high comes from just a belief in self. And I think your question was a little bit compared to hourly, compared to, outcome-based prices as well. Yeah. Hourly can really, I started with hourly and it works for me for 5 years. I'll be quite honest. Hourly does work. However, you have a lot of people that are comparing hourly with an employee. So that is why I encourage my clients to charge weekly or monthly retainers based upon the hourly. Because when you're selling to somebody, it lands better for them. So just say you say it's going to be $1,000 a week, a business owner's life is in a profit and loss statement. So they're looking at whole numbers. If you go and throw out a $85 rate, they'll be like, I don't really know how much that's going to be and how that matches with their P&L. So outcome-based prices and weekly and monthly retainers actually serve better in the selling price, but then also allowing you to secure a minimum amount of hours and you're not kind of just hustling for an hour here, an hour there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So usually the people who buy from you eventually are from your community and they must trust you before they
Correct.
start buying from you. So
Yes.
what has worked best for building genuine connection and trust online?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely the being visible and just building really authentic relationships and conversations pay off. It's not coming in with the intention to sell. So even online, when I have conversations in DMs, it generally takes time to build rapport, establish a need before I say to somebody, hey, how about we just jump on a call? And this is a strategy that I teach my clients. I do not teach them to go and DM 1,000 people, here are my services you should buy from me, because that is one way to alienate your audience. Actually, just make friends with people, build relationships with other business women, go to networking events in person with the intention to make connections. Don't go in there with the intent to sell, because it is proven the more and more people you know, the more and more people that you know, and the more and more people that you just connect with on a personal level, organically, they will come to you or they will tell people about you because of how personal and authentic you are. And I know that that's hard for people because they're like, oh, but that's such a long game. Yeah, but if you come in hard and fast with the sales, you're not going to have the opportunity to build rapport and build a relationship with people. And Australia, definitely compared to, I've lived in other countries are not relationship based sales. It's all a rate driven sales tactic. Like I worked in the Middle East and they're all about rate. They'll drop you at the drop of a hat if you're offering a cheaper rate. In Australia, it is very much relationship based sales. People want to know with people that they like, know, and trust. People will go and say, hey, I hear you're working with a virtual assistant. Who are they? What are they like? Do they have any friends? What community are they from? Everyone's asking for referrals. So it's very relationship based.
Wow. So how do you balance motherhood and CEO life? And what boundaries or routines help you stay grounded?
I have learned to ask for help. It was a big lesson that I learned in the beginning. I asked for help. I outsource things in my personal life, not just in my business life. And in the beginning, I thought it came across very bougie and I was kind of like, oh, can I really do that? But no, I can, because what I've worked out is if I invest time and money in my personal life, it's going to free me up in my business life, as well as allowing me to be a present mum. So things like I have a cleaner that comes in once a fortnight. I send out our laundry, which is actually so affordable compared to the time it would take for me to separate the whites from the colors and wash and dry. Like it's a whole thing. Whereas I could send it out every fortnight and I can actually gain back so much more time, so that it also allows me to be a present mother on the weekend when we're home, we're spending time together. And in terms of boundaries, once I pick her up from school, the phone is aside. If my clients message me, they have to wait until the next day. And you know what? 99% of my clients are moms anyway, so they very much, I encourage them to have the same boundaries. So it's not like they're going to be messaging me, outside of the hours, but it's about respecting that time so that I can be a present mum and knowing when those boundaries are. And I think in terms of the time management is I don't typically work a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. Is I typically work a Monday to Sunday, and I work in different pockets of time so that I can be visible. So, today my daughter is sick. After this, I will be off for the entire day, but then I might need to do some extra hours over the weekend, but I'll do it when she's asleep, or I'll get up early while she's sleeping so that I can do it. And I don't have an issue with working on a weekend because I've allowed myself that flexibility. Whereas a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, I'm sorry that you have to work on a weekend. And be like, no, why? Like, this is fun for me. This is what I live for. But it's because I have the flexibility to be able to take off. But whereas other people, they'll be like, like there's just so much stigma around it, or people like, I feel sorry for you because you had to work on your vacation. I'm like, I'm not sorry. I just got to spend 5 weeks in Bali vacationing and working. When do you get to have that opportunity? So it's again that conditioning that they've had from society that tells them, oh, we should only work between these days and these hours. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I do very differently, but definitely asking for support and help when you need it is definitely key being a mum.
Thank you for sharing that. I also work on weekends, so you
You get
own
it.
your own time, so you can decide when you want to work.
Exactly. Yeah.
usually pockets of time, like you mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not like you're working for the whole day, anyways.
correct. Correct.
Can you share a client success story that really embodies the transformation you help women achieve?
Yeah, probably my most recent client. Well, she's been with me for some time, but she started her business from scratch. And she's just, when some people are just, they're really coachable. She just takes everything that I say, she puts it into action, and we're in 2 years of working together, and she's hovering around that $20,000 per month. And she's just like, Sasha, I'm so drained. I have a huge team, but I want to get to 40K. And I'm just like, there's some ways to do that. But she invested a little bit of extra money to have some one-to-one time with me in Bali. We had a VIP experience. So we spent some hours, and what we created was, she is in the realm of building all-inclusive GHL systems and things like that. And she invested a small amount of money to spend more time with me. But what we did was actually created $10,000 packages that she could sell to her clients. And within 2 weeks, she'd sold one. The other one she's in conversation with, and she hasn't even built the landing page. And that
Wow.
just shows that she's coachable, but also that she takes action. So it's a really good example of somebody that might have been hesitant to pay a couple of $1,000s for a VIP session to kind of get the knowledge to kind of let's scale your business. But she's literally turned that couple of $1,000s into another $20,000 in 2 weeks. And like, that's how fast business can change. But again, it comes down to her confidence in her abilities. One, to sell at a $10,000 price point, because that takes a lot in terms of mindset to be able to show up and do that. But also, two, to value the skills and experience of her team. And I think that a lot of people are scared to invest in coaches
Yeah.
because they're just like, well, I need to have the money to pay for them. But whether or not she had the money or not to invest in that VIP session, she's literally within 2 weeks turned it around and potentially made another $20,000 on her monthly revenue that she's already getting. So I love that story because it's super powerful in terms of how you can invest to get the expertise of somebody that can kind of have a bird's eye view of your business so that you can actually quantum leap into the next level. Whereas before, she was just so overwhelmed. She's like, I don't know what to do. There's no possible way I can make any more money because I'm so burnt out. I'm working 24/7. So we've allowed the opportunity to add more revenue onto her business, which has now given her more cash flow to invest in more stuff that can help her so that she can start not working 24.
Wow. That is inspiring. Before she created a landing page,
She sold it with no
so
landing page.
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. So what are
Yes.
you currently excited about in your business? And where can our listeners connect with you further?
Yeah, we've recently relaunched a Getting Started program. We've made it super affordable for those women that, don't have a huge budget to actually get started, because I'm so powerful about reaching so many more women and having them the opportunity to get started. So we've made it super affordable, but super impactful to be like, this is how you can actually get started. And then we have our high level mastermind as well. So we've just revamped all of the strategies, all of the content, and we plugged in a lot of experts. I've hired some expert coaches. We have an ads coach now. We have a meditation coach. We have a copywriting coach, so that they can really plug in all of those things to scale their business. So I'm super excited for all of that content to come out so we can provide more value to our clients.
And so where can these listeners find you?
Yes, I generally hang out on Instagram. I'm always up for a chat via DM. Send me a voice note, but it's just, the handle is Sasha Eburne __. And then, of course, my website for more information, which is just sashaeburne.com.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. A big thank you to Sasha for sharing her journey, wisdom, and practical strategies for building a thriving service-based business. Be sure to follow her and check out her program if you are ready to scale with strategy and confidence. And as usual, let us know if you have found this helpful, as we want to put out the best for you. And on this episode, I told you about my 6 weeks coaching package. So if you're feeling stretched in trying to grow your business while managing your home and family, you are not alone, and you don't have to figure this out on your own. This 30 minutes clarity call is designed to help entrepreneurs like you pause, breathe, and get clear on where your time is going and what needs to shift. Together, we will identify your biggest time plus energy drains, map out what is keeping you stuck or overwhelmed, uncover the first step to a more balanced, aligned life. And your $47 investment will be fully credited toward my 6 weeks time reset coaching package if you choose to move forward after our session. No pressure, no hard pitch, just real talk, clarity, and a moment to focus on you. So head over to this episode show notes to sign up and to check out my guest offers too. Thanks for tuning in to the Minute Mastery Podcast. If you have found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who could use more time in their day, and remember to subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, you are in control of your time and you've got this.